A nation can survive its fools and even the ambitious, but it cannot survive treason from within. An enemy at the gates is less formidable, for he is known and carries his banner openly. But the traitor moves amongst those within the gate freely, his sly whispers rustling through all the alleys, heard in the very halls of government itself. For the traitor appears not a traitor. He speaks in accents familiar to his victims, and he wears their face and their argument. He appeals to the baseness that lies deep in the hearts of all men. He rots the soul of a nation. He works secretly and unknown in the night to undermine the pillars of the city. He infects the body politic so that it can no longer resist. A murderer is less to fear. That was written in 42 BC by Roman orator and statesman Cicero. And the reason I read about the enemy within and the traitors is because we have traitors and enemies within who have hijacked our revolution, who have hijacked our ship of state, and in some way have steered Donald Trump into very dangerous territory. Welcome to the Savage Nation, April 12th, 2018 edition. We know that Lindsey Graham has urged Trump to launch missiles. One of the biggest cowards in the history of the Senate, a warmonger through and through, owned lock, stock, and barrel by the defense manufacturers, along with Strange McCain, wants war at every turn. Yesterday he urged Trump to launch missiles. He needs to go big. Listen to Lindsey Graham. And let me tell you something else before you listen to him. If Lindsey Graham and John McCain were for launching missiles without firm proof and without consequential considerations, why would you have been for that? Why? Just because some of the frauds in the media were for it, who pose as conservatives, when they themselves are the enemies within? Neocons through and through pretending to be conservatives by outing everybody else as a liberal? That's the old game of the communists, let me tell you right now. This is Lindsey Graham screaming for war.
He needs to go big because Assad has defied the president, he's defied the international community, he's defied human decency, and now's the time for this guy to pay a heavy, heavy price. And anything short of that, I think, will embolden him and others.
Now, these are the words of a fool and possibly a treasonous man. Now, many of you should understand that there's a wonderful man in England named Farage. He was on many shows. Remember during the Brexit thing? Some of the most staunch conservatives on Fox News couldn't get enough of Farage. In fact, some radio hosts love Farage. But yesterday, Farage said what I said. He said bombing Assad will cause chaos and help terrorists. I'll play that in a minute. I had Pat Buchanan on yesterday. I liquidated the argument that we should bomb Assad and threaten Russia. I liquidated that argument with 3 hours of radio, unlike anything I have done in 20 years. Yesterday was one of the greatest days in the history of my show for one reason. We influenced the outcome of, we influenced the course of human events. We actually saw yesterday that we live in a functioning participatory democracy. At the beginning of the day, Trump blustered that he was ready to launch his shiny new missiles. We were all appalled for 3 reasons. One, why would you in advance tell people what you were going to do when you criticized Obama for that, we said. Many of you said, yes, this is not right, this is not Trump. Then we said, why would you threaten Russia, which is a phenomenal nuclear power? You do understand that they're not North Korea. The madman in North Korea might have nukes, but he can't launch them very far, while Russia definitely has intercontinental ballistic missiles. Some are on submarines that are as good as any of ours, and they run silent and they run deep. You don't provoke a nuclear war simply because Lindsey Graham urges you to do so, we said. We were shocked. And I appeal to you today with 3 hours of radio along the lines of something I had not done since, well, I don't know, a couple of times we've changed the course of human events. With Bush, it was something to do with port security, if you remember that one. Many of you would like to conveniently forget the influence that this show has. It may not be the biggest show, but it may be one of the most influential shows in terms of thought. So we wake up this morning. I got to tell you something. I didn't sleep well last night. I was afraid to wake up this morning. I was afraid to wake up this morning for fear that they would have launched and we were in a war. But 3:30 in the morning, my time, my dog woke me. He's been sick, this one now, and it's getting me freaked out. Teddy now is making me get up with the throwing up and this and that. I got mad at him. I said, why are you bothering me? I'm not a father 20 years old with an infant. Cut it out. You know, you start talking to a dog. But anyway, I get up and I say, do not look at the computer. Let the dog out and go back to sleep, I thought. But I couldn't help it. I looked at the computer. We were not yet at war. Go back to sleep. 4:30, he wakes me up again, the dog. Again, I let him out. Again, I think, it's not even dawn. Do not look at the computer. Don't. You'll never get back to sleep. Well, I looked at the computer and I saw that Trump had reversed himself. And I said, thank God. Thank God that we are living in a participatory democracy where the president actually listens to the people. You do understand that this was not so much a sign of weakness as a sign of strength. That by saying, I didn't say when I would launch, he actually admitted that his advice to strike Syria was premature. He probably reevaluated this rather risky tweet in the morning, and he performed an extraordinary reversal on his threat to bomb Assad, claiming he never said when an attack on Syria would take place. Yesterday, Mr. Trump tweeted that Syria's major ally, Russia, should, quote, get ready for America's smart missiles, that they're smart and shiny and new. But all of a sudden, because of the outcry amongst you, the people of America, don't assume he didn't hear you. Don't assume just because the others in the media who are jealous of my influence didn't say that you had the influence. I've been around a long time, and everyone listens to this show of any merit in this country. Make no mistake about it. Don't fool yourself. The message got through. And if it was just a Machiavellian decision that he would lose his base, the House would fall, and he'd be impeached, and nobody would be there for him. Well, so be it. But even Farage of England said bombing Assad will cause chaos and help terrorists. All of the wisest people on earth knew that it would be the wrong thing to do, except the Johnny-come-latelys in the media who pose as wise men who are nothing but shills for their own self-interests. And so I said this morning, Trump shows strength, admits advice to strike Syria premature. But I must tell you that we don't really know whether or not he might strike as I speak, because he's in a meeting with all of his top advisors, and we do know that amongst them are globalist neocons who are trying to steer the ship into the iceberg of war. They're going to argue through the day and through the night to launch and to fight and to show the world how tough we are. You cannot believe the stupidity and the evil amongst men. It was interesting to me and quite telling yesterday that as I was pleading with the president and with you, the audience, for the president to reconsider, and I begged you to flood the White House with emails. You remember that one? Maybe you did, because he got the message somehow. And I had Pat Buchanan on. He did work for Nixon and Reagan. Even people who had once worked for Reagan were calling him a liberal at the end of the show. That's how sick they are. That's how demented they are. You know, but I really blame you for not paying attention. People who worked for Reagan, who know that Pat Buchanan was his communications director, attacked Buchanan as a liberal just to make their point that he should go to war. This is how demented it's become in the media. But apparently Trump could read through the fog and say, wait a minute. The Savage Nation may not be the biggest show in the country, but when I met with him, I will tell you right now, they said to me, you are the rock star of radio. We all know that. Those are their words, not mine. I don't care whether you believe me or not. Because I asked him, how do you want to introduce me to somebody? He said, what do you mean introduce you? You're like Madonna. You're the rock star of radio. We know who you are. You've been around, and you know what you're talking about, and everyone listens to you and respects you. So I would assume that the president heard us, whether directly through you or emails or whatnot, or somebody gave him a summary. I asked Pat Buchanan, how did Ronald Reagan, how did Nixon get the opinion of the people in front of him? He said, how? He said, I collected the statements of the major newspapers, the headlines. I put them together in one report every morning, which he read every morning. Sometimes it was 50 pages long. So just assume that the president of our country today, Donald Trump, did get the message that most of his base did not want a premature war for a couple of reasons. And I'm not going to reiterate them for you right now. And he then said, well, I can't afford to not listen to my base, so I better hold off for a while. But as I speak, I can guarantee you that the Walrus is trying to strike, and some others who have inveigled their way in, who are representative of the globalist New World Order, who are trying to bring him down. And what's odd, though, is that yesterday I kept asking you, how come none of the Democrats who are normally critical of Donald Trump have opened their big mouths? Dianne Feinstein's big mouth was shut. Why did none of them advise the president not to strike Syria while I was begging him not to? The answer is they wanted him to strike Syria, along with Lindsey Graham, John McCain, and possibly many talk show hosts in America. Why? Because they want to destroy Donald Trump. Because Dianne Feinstein, Nancy Pelosi, who said nothing yesterday, were praying to God that Donald Trump started a war so they could use it against him in the midterm elections and call him a warmonger. Do you understand that? Do you get that? I want that to sink into your head. That many fake conservatives in the media who pose as real rock rib Republican Trump supporters, even though they spit on him for a year straight. They called him every name under the sun. Never Trumpers, anti-Trumpers, called him names, called you names. All of a sudden, the most loyal soldiers in Napoleon's army, they got the uniform and they marched like the Benedict Arnolds that they've always been. But they were marching with Nancy Pelosi. Why? Pelosi, for one reason, wanted war so they could use it against Trump and destroy the Republicans in the midterms. Because war is never popular. Make no mistake about it. Only amongst the couch generals out there who are sitting eating cheesecake in their mother's basement want war. Men who fought in war don't want war. Men like my friend Colonel Tony, who listened to the show religiously yesterday. I didn't even know he was listening. Colonel Tony sent me an email. Actually, a text right at the end of the show. He was practically shaking with emotion when he said things to me, if I can find it. Here, it's right here. I'm going to read it to you. He said to me, just finished listening to your radio program today. Colonel now. Colonel, not a talk show host. He said, I am in 100% agreement with you and your analysis. I hope more intelligent cooler heads intercede and put a stop to this before it becomes a continental war. And then I said a few things, and he said, Lincoln had the same people around him. He tried to stay out of war, but unlike Lincoln, he knew what was right because he had core belief in the Union. I said to him, I am alone in the media. Even the left wants war. The colonel said, this is madness. Where is the national interest in a war in the Middle East? Our borders are more important. And he concluded by saying this, all you 14-carat phonies in the media. The last thing a real Army officer wants to do is go to war. He knows the beasts will come out. I'm going to say a lot more about Trump's strength by admitting that the advice to strike Syria was premature with what I think is a blockbuster idea, and I'm going to hint at it. There may be another reason Trump reversed course or reconsidered. What do you think it could be? I'll give you a hint. Vladimir Putin is a former KGB agent. Let that hang in the air for a minute.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. Do you have trouble sleeping like most people do? I'm here to change your sleeping patterns forever. I, myself, have never slept better since I started using MyPillow. I would toss and turn all night and never feel fully rested, but that's all changed once I discovered MyPillow the way I like it. MyPillow uses a patented technology that morphs perfectly to the type of sleeper you are. You create the pillow that's right for you, right on their own website. It's amazing, and of course it's all manufactured right here in the United States and comes with a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry MyPillow, and the best part is you get a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. I want you to go to MyPillow.com or call 800-768-0898, promo code SAVAGE. Take advantage of my special 4-pack deal. Buy 2 premium My Pillows, and you're going to get 2 Go Anywhere pillows for free. Rush to MyPillow.com or call 800-768-0898, promo code SAVAGE, to take advantage of my special 4-pack. Wouldn't it be great to have all the energy that you want all day long? Unfortunately, fatigue often gets in the way. You know that. It seems to get worse every year, doesn't it? And here's why. When you're 20, your body has a natural ability to maintain healthy circulation. But by the time you're 40, that ability decreases by half. That leaves you feeling tired. So what can you do to increase that youthful, natural circulation and fight fatigue? Drink Super Beets. Super Beets promotes the body's own natural ability to produce healthier circulation for increased energy and stamina all day long. Only Super Beets is made from beets grown to exacting standards, which are then concentrated into superfood crystals. So listen to me. If you want to increase your own natural energy, you go to 1-800-481-0504 or SavageLovesBeets.com. With your first order, you're going to get another 30-day supply of Super Beets free, plus indicator strips to see how Super Beets actually works for you. And you get free shipping. Call 800-481-0504, 800-481-0504, or go to Savage. We're talking about the cult of liberalism in a certain way, and of course the cult of fake republicanism that is trying to bring Donald Trump down by egging him on into a war that is unwinnable. Everybody who's been in war doesn't want war. Only those who've not been to war want war. Only those who sit behind microphones or sit in front of cameras with pancake makeup try to get your son to die in the next war. War should be the last act, not the first act. It's always diplomacy, diplomacy, diplomacy. And for those of you who believe that it requires total allegiance to an emperor, you don't know what country you're living in. You know, I go on Twitter and I see the fools, the idiocy of idiots. People don't even know what country we're living in or the form of government we have. How dare you criticize Trump and second-guess him? Do you know what he knows? The fools on the Hill say. I know enough to know that he's being misadvised about going to war with Syria and possibly Russia. I know enough about that. And I also know we live in a participatory democracy where the people's opinions matter. And he listened to the people's opinions. This is not a religion. We don't live in a dictatorship. We live in a democracy, a republic that is functional in some ways. And Trump showed that it is functional. Obama never listened to the people. So my headline was, Trump shows strength, admits advice to strike Syria premature. That could change as I speak. There could be another a tweet as I'm talking. Just launched shiny new missiles. Watch them fly. Could happen. But I didn't tell you the other reason yet, did I? Of why he may have backtracked. And do I have it in 30 seconds? I'm going to gag on the time. I can't do it. I need 3 hours. I need to talk for 3 straight hours with no interruption to really explain to you what's going on. There's 3 minutes, and then it's like a schizophrenia. I don't know. Maybe I should just do something where I can talk for an hour straight with no ads at all. That'll be me and the dog with 2 Dixie cups and a string.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Have you ever taken your car in for an oil change, your mechanic finds something wrong, and bingo, surprise, you're hit with a huge repair bill? And what happens when you're not covered by the manufacturer's warranty? You're paying out of your own pocket to fix it, that's what. That's why I recommend extended vehicle protection from CarShield. If your car has 5,000 to 150,000 miles, CarShield can save you from paying for high repair bills. Replacing your engine or even a simple sensor can cost thousands. But when you're protected by CarShield, you can have your favorite mechanic or dealership fix your car. It's your choice. CarShield also provides 24/7 roadside assistance and a rental car while yours is being fixed for free. Get covered by the ultimate in extended vehicle protection. Get CarShield. How? Call 800-CAR-6100. 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 Mention code SAVAGE or visit carshield.com. Use code SAVAGE to save a big 10%. That's carshield.com or 800-CAR-6100. Code SAVAGE to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Is going on. But I myself do not know. I know that I spent 3 hours lobbying on this program for the president to reconsider and back off. I had you bombard the White House with emails. Maybe that's the reason he reconsidered. He is a politician, and so is his party. And they realize if they lose the base, and you are the base, make no mistake about it, if they lose the base by going into another idiotic war in the Middle East, they will lose the House, they will lose the Senate, and it is likely they will, let's say, take some other drastic steps on the other side. But I don't know what could happen 10 minutes from now. This is the problem. This is the world we're living in. But look, I hinted at something else, that there may be another reason that is not this one, which would explain why Trump reversed course or reconsidered. And I suggested in a hint when I said to you, Putin is a former KGB agent. What do you think I was hinting at? Well, I may as well lay it on the line since I write novels as well. So this is pure fiction. I wrote Abuse of Power, New York Times bestseller, unknown in America. Never heard of in San Francisco, not sold in San Francisco. The only novels here are Jenny Has Six Mommies and Three Rhinoceroses. Other than that, there's no such thing as fiction in San Francisco. I wrote many other novels that were bestsellers, actually 3 in a row with Jack Hatfield. So make believe this is a novel. I'm going to put it in the third person. There is a president who is on the verge and threatens to launch missiles. His adversary is the head of a very powerful nuclear nation, former KGB agent, who says to him in whatever coded messages that they use, whatever back channel, if you do this, we will release documents that are false which prove that there was Russia collusion. It'll be the end of you. You'll be impeached. You'll be destroyed. Now, what I'm saying to you is something you have to be able to stretch your imagination to understand. You do know that there's a capacity for forging documents, don't you? It's quite easy to do. And there's no reason to believe that the KGB can't forge documents. Is that a possibility or not? Is that too hard for you to think about? Maybe that's too difficult for talk radio. I really don't know how far to go with my fictionalized imagination. So we can stick to narrative 1 rather than narrative 2. Narrative A is the easy one, that Trump shows strength, admits advice to strike Syria premature. Narrative B is beyond the audience. We'll leave that for a fictional novel. But I'll tell you this, though. I will tell you this, that the Savage Nation showed yesterday that it is still a powerful voice in America. You are. What I say, what you say when you call the show, is still a powerful tool to get those in authority to hear us and make the decisions that are best for the nation and the world. Today we woke up to see that we still live in a participatory democracy. News today was that the president backed down. Well, why did he do that? Could it be because of you and me? Because you called and emailed and told him you didn't want war in Syria, that we didn't have enough information to launch missiles that would kill innocent people and possibly provoke Russia into a war? I had Pat Buchanan on yesterday, a true conservative who served both for Nixon and Reagan, who acknowledged that it was us who were on the right side of history, meaning you and I, the audience, and he, and that those advising the president were wrong to push the administration into another war in the Middle East. I believe the president may have actually listened to us and not to his advisors, especially the new breed of warmongers who just swept into the White House. A week ago, he said, no, we're getting out of Syria. Then we hear Bolton's coming in on Monday, and on Saturday there's a false flag. All of a sudden, a gas attack. We still don't even know who did the gas attack. Remember, he reversed his advisor's advice in either case and actually listened to the people. This may not be so much a reversal of his position as it is an acceptance of the desires of the voters. Most of you want no foreign wars. Most of you want no intervention in the Middle East. Maybe Donald Trump finally realizes that his new advisors are against what you want. You know, again, I'm going to make it very, very brief, but importantly so, personal. When I had dinner, the honor of having dinner, when I had the honor of sitting at his table with only 6 people, actually 7, he said to me point blank, and I don't think it's a violation. No, I'm not going to say it. Sorry. I'm not saying another word. What I'm saying to you is what I want to say to you. But not only are Bolton and the neocons suicidal for the president, but for the entire agenda that we elected him to enact. Because if Bolton and his neocon team undermine him, he will lose you, his base, and the Republicans will lose the House in the midterms. Why do you think that the liberals like Pelosi and Feinstein didn't come out against bombing Syria yesterday? Why is it that none of them raised their voice to say no, Mr. President? Because they know that they would be able to use it against them in the midterms. And then you have the outright traitors in the White House and in Congress who are misleading the president into war. Into war. So these people will still continue to push him towards war, not peace, to make him look as bad as they can. So let me reiterate again, if he does strike Syria, if he does provoke Russia, he will not gain adherents, he will lose them. He will lose the House and impeachment proceedings will begin. I told you in Trump's war, he was the peace candidate, which is why I backed him amongst other reasons. No foreign wars, no interventionist, nationalist is what he was. That was the core of his foreign policy. And being a man of peace, we did not ask him to threaten Russia. In fact, a few weeks ago, he said he was going to have Putin into the White House. The war proponents are gloating over the fact that the Russians moved their fleet out of Aleppo in Syria. The cowards in the media saying, look, Putin ran away. What would they know about war? Putin didn't run away. He took his ships out of harm's way. You idiots don't remember Pearl Harbor? When our entire fleet sat there at Pearl Harbor, lined up for the Japanese to make easy runs on them and take out our entire Pacific fleet? Putin didn't run away. It was the smart thing to do, not the action of a coward. It was the action of a brilliant general. And these Russian ships and subs are still in the Mediterranean, and they're all capable of launching intercontinental ballistic missiles. Is this what we want right now at this stage of human events? To tangle with an established nuclear power? These idiots, these new advisors, took 70 years of non-proliferation policy and nearly threw it all out the window overnight. That Bolton is the most dangerous loose cannon that's ever been allowed inside the inner circle. He should be kicked out of the velvet ropes and sent back to obscurity. Let him go teach at Georgetown. But don't look for anyone in the media to recognize the power of this program. We are a force unto ourselves. This program is a significant influencer in world events. But we must keep up the pressure because the neocons behind the scenes are still working to have him launch those shiny new missiles. I could open it up to calls right now. I guess that would be a thing to do. I could ask you what you think of this or that. If you get on the show, please don't make me blow my stack like I did yesterday. I actually apologize for yelling at that poor lady who said, it's an honor to speak with you. I unloaded on her because I can't stand listening to that. I'm not one of the other talk shows who needs you to say that. Please don't say that. Without you, there'd be no show. So it's not an honor to speak with me. Without you, there'd be no show. Do you understand that? This is talk radio. This is not television with staged audiences. This is radio, talk radio. It's rough. It's a rough and tumble medium. It's like a contact sport in some ways, but it's very direct. And so it's not an honor for you to speak with me. It is what the show is all about. I don't know if I want to take calls right now. Okay, Rob on WABC line 5. Please talk, Rob. I don't know what you're going to say, honestly.
Hi, Mr. Savage. My name is Robin from Long Island. Thank you for having me on. I just wanted to thank you for speaking out yesterday against war and against Bolton and against all those people, because the truth is I see a lot of neocons in this cabinet, and I did vote for Trump, and we are the silent majority. However, I am a moderate, and the last thing we need right now is more young people like myself going home in body bags. So I think that you're one.
Well, but according to the experts in the media, you wouldn't be affected by it. We have an all-volunteer army. So it's they who would die, not you. And that was an argument I heard yesterday. It's an all-volunteer army, so we have nothing to worry about. Have you ever heard anything as facetious as that in your life?
It's absolutely ridiculous. All these people who want the war, they're not the ones who have to send their children home in body bags, honestly. It's just
no, but the object is you wouldn't be affected anyway. It's only the dummies who are enlisted, who have volunteered. Let them die is what the talk show host was saying yesterday. Or the warmongers.
Well, they're very out of touch, Mr. Savage, with people like you and me and everybody who voted for Trump. Because if we wanted war, we would have voted for Rubio. We would have voted for Lindsey Graham or one of these other quacks. We voted for.
Now, you see, you know your history. You know your history of the election. Well, Rob, as I say to you, this may not be the biggest show, but it may be the most influential show. People of influence listen to the show. And I'm very proud to have listeners like you call the show. 855-400-7282. I don't know, maybe it's time for a change to something else. Isn't today, Jim, is that the day that the G.I. Jew thing came out because it's Holocaust Memorial Day? Yes or no? I need to know. I think it is. I think today is Holocaust Memorial Day, and it's worth doing something on that, lest we never, ever, ever forget what happened not so long ago in a dictatorship where over 6 million Jews were mercilessly slaughtered and over 9 million non-Jews were mercilessly slaughtered in the concentration camps and in the factories, in the streets, in the torture chambers, all because of a mad dictator who hated a certain race. Never forget that one. Well, anyway, a documentary came out called G.I. Jews, which I thought was very interesting because one of my... can I mention it? I guess I can. Remember 2 days ago I had my attorney on, Dan Horowitz? Great lawyer, friend of mine. Well, it turns out his father actually is in the documentary G.I. Jews. His father landed in Normandy and fought all the way to Berlin. You wouldn't know this. I mean, there's some ordinary men around you who are still living who were actually there. And his father's brother was a tank commander who died when a German shell hit the tank and blew him, killed him. Brave man, that was Dan's uncle, comes from a family of warriors, which is why he's such a great lawyer. But the point is that it became very personal for me at that point. And I think we should talk a little bit about the Holocaust Memorial Day in some regard on the program. Maybe we'll play that little tape so you know what I'm talking about. A lot of us want to sweep it under the rug and say, I heard it 100 times. I don't want to hear about the Holocaust. Let's move on. I don't think we can move on so readily. I have to say this before I forget it. I know I will. I know I'm running short of time. I'm going to have a stroke today from the time pressure. I feel a stroke coming on from the pressure on me. I have so much I want to say. I'm like bubbling over like Vesuvius. Are you ready for it? I'll save it for when I get back. Be here.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust. Everywhere you look, experts are predicting a market crash. What would a market crash do to your future, your IRA, your 401k? Imagine no more happy returns, dividend checks, or savings cushion. In spite of major warning signs all around, crashes happen suddenly. I've been warning you about the risks to your savings. I've told you there's a secret war raging against you and your money. Will you please listen to me and take action? I'm telling you to take action now. Do it right now. Savage says be wise. Call Swiss America at 800-289-2646. Write it down. 800-289-2646. You're going to get a free secret war report. I want you to protect your hard-earned money before it is too late. Simply call 800-289-2646. You can thank me later, but call 800-289-2646 for the free booklet. It's the most beautiful thing on earth, and it's taken on a whole new meaning to me ever since I got my Casper mattress. The engineers at Casper have outdone themselves by creating the most exceptionally comfortable mattresses and sleep experiences you can imagine. Casper has created 3 different kinds of mattresses that will help you sleep cool and comfortably year-round. There's the Wave mattress, remarkable technology built into it. Casper mattress, more breathable and comfortable. And the Essential mattress, innovation at a great price. All Casper mattresses are designed with zone support to coddle and comfort your every move. And they all provide the perfect support for every position you sleep in. So see for yourself why Casper has hundreds of thousands of happy customers like me. Try your Casper mattress for 100 nights in your own home for free. Free shipping, free returns. All you got to do is go to Casper.com, code SAVAGE, save $50 on the purchase. That's Casper.com, code SAVAGE, to save $50 on select mattresses. Terms and conditions apply. See Casper.com for details. Now, I want to go back to the issue not of Donald Trump changing his mind on the missile thing, because that could change again before the show is over. The bottom line there is Trump shows strength by admitting that his advice to strike Syria was premature. I've covered that. I may cover it again. But I want to go to the Holocaust Memorial Day for a couple of reasons. Pope Pius XII, the Pope during Hitler's reign of terror. He was Cardinal Pacelli. Now, he has been smeared by leftist vermin in this country and in Europe since the 1960s. In fact, as recently as last week, the rats at CNN attacked the Pope, saying he was Hitler's Pope all over again. And all I could say is shame on you, Zucker. You're a shame to the Jewish people. Shame on you, Zucker, because you should know better, you mook, you bum, you vermin, you. How dare you attack the Catholics like that, you mook, you bum, you rat. Why do I get so angry over this attack on Pius XII? Why is it that the left wing in this country and Europe keep calling him Hitler's Pope? Let me give you some information about him. Cardinal Pacelli, you never heard of him. That was Pope Pius XII. He saved so many Jews that if you go to Israel today, you will find a forest of trees dedicated in his memory for the Jews he saved in World War II. Zucker, you bum, you mook, you bum, you should know that. You run CNN and you don't know that? You know, CNN should fire Zucker for this kind of thing. The Catholics should let them know they should boycott CNN for smearing Pacelli. And I'll give you another piece of information, all you smart leftist vermin who hate Catholics so much. The former head rabbi of Rome, Israel Zoli, converted to Catholicism after World War II because of the great number of Jews saved by the Pope, who you, Zucker, smear as Hitler's Pope. Did you hear what I just said to you? These are facts or I wouldn't give them to you, and you can't get them anywhere else but on the Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
And I saw what Zucker had done on CNN had hit a new low. They were smearing Pope Pius XII, again implying he was Hitler's Pope, he was collaborating with the Nazis, he didn't do enough to save the Jews. I got so angry. I was so infuriated because I knew the opposite was true, and I had the proof for it. And I'm not a Catholic, by the way. I feel very strongly about liars like Zucker and CNN, not only for what they do to my president, not only for what they do to the public discourse, but in this case, what they're doing to an entire religion. So I turned it off, and today is Holocaust Memorial Day, and I thought it would be a good time to tell you that Cardinal Pacelli, who became Pope Pius XII, who'd been smeared all the way back, I remember in the 60s, I think the play was called The Deputy, wasn't it, Jim? Some German playwright, some leftist slime, tried to smear the same Pope again. And I was too young to even understand the innuendo of what they were doing, but the left has had it in for the Catholics and for this Pope in particular ever since I could remember thinking. So I decided a number of years ago to actually research Pius XII's record during World War II. And here's two pieces of proof as to the fact that he was actually a great man. One, if you go to Israel today, there's an entire forest of trees dedicated to his memory in Israel because of the great numbers of Jews that he saved personally in Italy under Hitler. You don't know about that. Zucker should know about that, and if he does know about it, he's committing a war crime by desecrating the name of Cardinal Pacelli, Pope Pius XII. But I actually think Zucker is such a pig. I think he's like a Harvey Weinstein in the news business in terms of the type, not in terms of, well, I don't know anything about his personal life, nor do I care. In terms of a brutish type, that's what I'm talking about. I'll give you another piece of evidence. And that is the former head rabbi of Rome, meaning he was the head rabbi of Rome, chief rabbi in Rome, among Italy's Jewish community from 40 to 45, and he defended Pope Pius XII during World War II. And he said after the war that Pius XII gave support and shelter to this rabbi and other Jews during Nazi Germany's occupation of Italy from 43 to 44. And it was later revealed that Rabbi Zolai hid in a number of places both in Rome and in Vatican City State itself. But he wasn't alone. The Pope had saved many Jewish people. And as a result of this, he converted from Judaism to Catholicism in February 1945. That's something Zucker didn't learn at whatever high school or college he may have gone to. It's a shame that we have people in such powerful places who can get away with smearing an entire religion with impunity. It is nothing. What they do to the memory of people and to religions themselves is nothing compared to, well, let's leave it at that. I don't want to go overboard right now. Maybe I haven't yet, but I will maybe a little later. I'll go overboard. But I know most of you want to talk about Syria. And I've done it yesterday. I did it today. Did we have a little montage of yesterday with me with Buchanan that we could play? Did we get anything, Jim? For those who missed it. It was a great interview. But wait, before we play it, it just came out of Newsmax. Mr. Ruddy of Newsmax emailed me this morning. He said, do you have a summary of what went on your show yesterday? And the article came out 2 minutes ago. Newsmax.com. Savage Buchanan oppose Syria strike. Oh, there's the picture of me in that old house. This old house. Michael Savage's interview with Pat Buchanan on Wednesday revealed a radio talk show host and his guest both flat out oppose a U.S. military strike against Syria, and they think President Donald Trump made a mistake by threatening Russia early this week. This is written by Zoe Papadakis, Newsmax.com. Before and while welcoming Buchanan to his show, The Savage Nation, Savage made his opposition to military action clear and said Trump's recent tweets showed, quote, the warmongers have grabbed the steering wheel of this administration. Buchanan agreed and said Trump put himself in a box by firing off a tweet on Wednesday attacking Russian-backed Syrian President Bashar al-Assad for his regime's most recent alleged chemical weapons attacks on civilians and warning that missiles were coming. Buchanan repeated his assertion that Trump now had two choices. Either he launches the attack that would drag the U.S. deeper into Syria's civil war, or be mocked for being full of talk but no action, a trait Trump accused Barack Obama of on Sunday, saying the former president failed to strike Syria on his watch after a chemical attack. Buchanan told Savage that Trump was acting unconstitutionally by threatening attacks on Syria, a country that has not attacked or threatened the U.S. He added that Trump had been elected by the American people to keep the country out of the Middle Eastern wars, and now, quote, there is a real possibility we are in a war with Syria, unquote. Buchanan said now is the time for Trump to reflect and to try to climb down from the threats and ultimatums he has issued to Russia. Buchanan added he should show he is a big enough man to realize he has made a mistake and not to double down and take us to war in order to justify and back up that mistake. Well, I woke up this morning and found out that President Trump is that big man, which is what I told you. But you can read this article if you like to catch yourself up. Jim, if we have that little snippet of sound between Pat and I, it is one of my most shining moments in radio because I think we did affect what happened so far. Again, so far we don't know what's happening later. I've got to continue to talk about this, though, because it's not a small topic. It's a huge topic. So let's play that for a minute, then I'll continue to talk about this huge topic. I'm very concerned that the warmongers have grabbed the steering wheel of this administration. What do you think?
Theresa May has said we don't have proof that the Syrians did this. And it seems to me, Michael, it would be a horrible mistake to be firing these missiles in the first place and threatening Russia. And in the second place, when we're not even sure exactly what was done and what happened. If we attack Syria, it's airfields, and it's a sustained attack of the kind the president's talking about. Those are acts of war against a country that has not attacked us, has not threatened us, and does not want war with us. I
don't understand how this war party got control of the steering wheel of the ship of state, Pat. How in the heck did they do this?
He's got no constitutional authority to do what he's about to do, And the Congress of the United States, which has the authority, is sitting there and doing nothing.
What do you think Trump should do now?
I think Trump should reflect and see if he's a big enough man, quite frankly, to try to climb down from the threat he has issued, the virtual ultimatum he has issued. But you got to realize here, Michael, there are people in Washington, D.C. who want this war, who want a conflict with Russia in Syria, and with Iran in Syria, and with the Syrians, who feel that that belongs to us, and we ought not let the Russians and the Iranians and the Shia and Hezbollah have it.
Savage.
Well, that's just a little bit of it. I have a much longer piece of the interview on michaelsavage.com. The write-up is on Newsmax right now. Thank you, Chris, for at least hearing me. You're apparently the only one in the media who actually listens to people, whether you agree with them or not. You know how important this interview was. And I have to thank Newsmax for once again hearing me and publishing this article, which honestly came out a minute before I mentioned I was going to talk about it. I didn't even know it was coming. It came to me that second. We're going to link it on michaelsavage.com as well. What this shows me with... Well, first of all, let me continue with the thought. Who else opposed the bombing? Mr. Farage of Brexit. Wasn't he on Wallbanger's show 100 times during Brexit? Wasn't on yesterday? Wasn't Farage lauded by all of the conservatives for being a great guy and a great conservative, a great voice? He said bombing Assad will cause chaos and help terrorists. Interesting, you didn't see Farage yesterday on any television shows, did you? He didn't make it to Fox. He was a persona non grata. Now he is now relegated to the Savage Nation only. He has to go into the doghouse of the media, a place where no one goes and no one listens to, apparently, except 20 million people a week between terrestrial radio and online and in all the other forms. I don't have to sell you on it. Remember we once did something on this show, which was the Dubai port steal. Remember that one? Raise your hand if you remember it. Some of you know what I am talking about. I wish there were more talk shows who could take pleasure in knowing that they've changed the course of human events, other than feathering their own nest and stuffing their pockets with cash. I stopped George Bush from turning over the security of our seaports to a Dubai-based company. He was going to do it, and I opposed it. And strangely enough, Charles Schumer came on the show and agreed with me. And I said even then, welcome, Senator Schumer. Politics does make strange bedfellows indeed, but we did stop the Dubai port steal. It was a huge, major victory for sense, for common sense. What happened yesterday, if it holds, if Trump doesn't get spun around today again by the walrus and the white rabbits, we will have another great day for the world. Work it out diplomatically. Work it out through diplomacy. Find out who actually gassed those citizens. First of all, we don't know. Farage said, I don't know whether he used those chemical weapons. Can you play for me clip 5, if you can? We got a minute for that. Listen to this very carefully. I said the very same things yesterday.
You know, we intervene. We get rid of these Arab nationalist dictators because we think it's the right thing to do, having never thought through what the long-term consequences are. Look, I don't know whether Assad used these chemical weapons or not. I don't know why he would, given that he's winning the war anyway. But maybe it was him. But even if we knew it was him, if the result of concerted action results in the overthrow of Assad, is that the right thing for us to do? But ask yourselves a question. What comes next? Chaos, instability, and who's to say, maybe a chance for ISIS to build their forces again.
You know, he speaks very well for a man who struggles with the English language, doesn't he? If only he had a New York accent, I'd be able to understand him a little better. But he does the best he can speaking the King's English. I'll be back in a minute.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. Ladies and gentlemen, sure, you could have surgery to look younger, but why on earth would you do that? I wouldn't. Listen to Joanne from Connecticut. My husband looks 10 years younger using Genucel. He saw results the first day he used it. I have also had remarkable results. Can't be without it. Imagine the bags and puffiness under your eyes gone, and watch those sagging, droopy eyelids disappear. That's years off your appearance. Genucel by Chamonix is an easy choice. Genucel contains natural ingredients for incredible results safely and quickly. It's as simple as that. In fact, with immediate effects, you'll see results like Joanne's in as little as 12 hours or your money back. Guaranteed. And right now is the perfect time to try Chamonix's brand new Genucel Eyelid Lift for droopy, sagging eyelids. Order Genucel today and get the brand new Genucel Eyelid Lift absolutely free. Go to Genucel.com. You heard me. That's Genucel.com for the free Genucel Eyelid Lift, or call 800-SKIN-891. 800-SKIN-891. If you call right now, you're going to get express shipping also free. Hurry, call 800-SKIN-891. 800-SKIN-891 or go to Genucel.com. Here's why I'm a big fan of Simply Safe Home Security. Simply Safe system is ready for anything that gets thrown at it. If a storm takes out your power, Simply Safe is ready. If an intruder cuts your phone line, Simply Safe is ready. Say an intruder destroys your keypad or siren, Simply Safe will still call the authorities and get you the help that you need. Here's what I love about this. Sure, maybe it's overkill. Maybe you don't need to be ready for every worst-case scenario, but that's what makes Simply Safe's home security system the best. It is always ready. And Simply Safe's triple safeguard protection could cost an arm and a leg, but it doesn't. Instead, they only charge you what's fair. So 24/7 professional security monitoring is just $14.99 a month. And with Simply Safe, there are no contracts, no hidden fees. That's why I recommend them to everyone I know. You owe it to yourself to check them out. Go today to simplysafesavage.com. That's simplysafesavage.com to protect your home and family today. SIMPLISAFE. Simply. Remember what JFK said? I played him yesterday. He said, we go to the moon not because it's easy, but because it's hard. It's very easy to sit here and lick the ice cream cone and say that everything Trump does is right and you support him even though you attacked him for a year straight, and make believe you're rah-rah, sis-boom-bah when everyone knows you're a 14-carat phony. That's what I heard yesterday throughout the entire day on the media. People who kicked him in the face for a year straight was suddenly, yeah, great Trump, go get him. Bomb that Syria, bomb that Russian, teach that bastard a lesson. Very easy to do that if you're a 14-carat phony. But the colonels that I know and the captains I know who fought in combat totally oppose war. I don't know anybody who supports the war except neocon media frauds. What about you out there? And we're also talking today about Holocaust Memorial Day, and I'm trying to set the record straight for Zucker, Mr. Zucker of CNN. A despicable human being. You talk about fake news. He now smeared the entire Catholic Church, in my opinion, Zucker, in running that smear piece against Pius XII on CNN the other day. It infuriated me. The facts do not support your lies, Zucker. And if there was justice in this world, you would be forced to answer to the Catholic community for what you did in smearing Pius XII. WABC Bill, line 5.
Dr. Savage.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi. I'm calling you from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I lost my son due to the Iraq War 10 years ago. And when it hits people, Americans, it doesn't matter what these things are, why they're doing these things over there. It's our sons and our daughters who die. And
no, I hear it. It's a hole in your being that'll never be filled. I get that.
Right.
Now, I guess what you're talking about is that this talk about launching missiles like it's nothing. You're talking about sending people to die is what you're saying.
That's right. Exactly.
Right. It's not just a talk show host stuffing his pockets with millions of dollars. Go to war. Go to war. It's good for America.
Well,
what you're saying is it comes down to human beings is what you're saying.
It's not good for America. It's not good for Americans. There's other ways, and there isn't a single issue that's worth American blood.
I hear you. And again, all I can say is I hear in your voice what you're saying in many different levels, on the human level, on the mental level, on a political level. I hear you, Bill, and I don't know what to say to you other than you can't say thank you for your, that's so stupid to say that. Let me just send you what I have, which is a book I wrote from my heart called God, Faith, and Reason. That's all I can do. I can't do any more than that, Bill. Thank you for calling. Yep, a hole that will never be filled. But apparently there are those in the media who are so bloodthirsty for ratings that they want many holes to be filled. Holes in the ground with your son. Not their son. Not them. But your son. They want your son to die for America. And then they have the audacity to argue in a fallacious, facetious way that it's an all-volunteer army, so it doesn't really matter. You won't be touched by it. I never heard anything like this. I don't know. The American people are so gullible that all someone has to do is wear a MAGA hat and say that they're great Americans for people to believe them. Well, why don't you actually listen to them? Why don't you actually analyze the politicians and see what they actually say? See what Lindsey Graham really says and see if he's really now a Trump supporter and a great American.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Today's technology makes a lot of things easier simply because everything is connected. Your cell phone connected to your tablet. Tablet is connected to your smart TV. And they're all connected to your Wi-Fi. Great. But it may only take 1 weak link in all those connections for criminals to get in. That's why new LifeLock identity theft protection now adds the power of Norton Security, which I use, by the way. While LifeLock uses proprietary technology to detect threats to your identity, like your info for sale on the dark web, the addition of Norton Security helps protect up to 5 of your devices from online threats like ransomware. And if there's a problem, LifeLock's agents will work to fix it. Of course, no one can prevent all identity theft or cybercrime or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But new LifeLock with Norton gives you more protection for today's connected world. I want you to join now and you'll get an additional 10% off your first year. Just head to LifeLock.com, enter promo code SAVAGE. That's LifeLock.com, promo code SAVAGE for an additional 10% off your... Lindsey Graham, a pinko of the worst kind, attacked Trump viciously for years. Yesterday supports Trump, saying he needs to go big, warning more blood, more death, more skeletons. McCain, the crazy man, the warmonger, wants more death, more destruction, wanted more war. But more intelligent people, such as the audience of this show, knew that this was, number one, likely a false flag created by the jihadists who staged the attacks to trigger Western intervention, number one. And number two, we also know that bombing Assad would cause chaos and help terrorists, just as it did when Gaddafi was killed in Libya. I said, remember when Hillary Clinton killed Gaddafi? Do you remember that famous tape where she said, we came, we saw, he died, and her girlfriends all laughed? That bloodthirsty murderer? I warned them. He warned them. The Libyan dictator, Gaddafi, a terribly evil man, I guess, in some ways, but he kept the jihadists under control, just as Saddam Hussein did. Iraq's not a better place now that Saddam is gone. We covered that the other day as well. It's a far worse place than it was under Saddam after all the deaths. I'm sorry to tell you. Ask Christians how they are treated in Iraq, for example. Worse than they were under Saddam, who protected all religious minorities. Jews, Christians, Baha'i, they were protected by Saddam. He basically opposed the jihadists, and we killed him and his sons. So now you want to kill Assad, who, again, a terribly brutal dictator, but protects the religious minorities, Christians, Jews, Baha'i, you name them. They're protected by him, and you want him killed. Now, I want you to listen to the former UK ambassador, Peter Ford, who says the West is being played by jihadists, and Assad likely not behind the attack. It just came out minutes ago out of BBC Scotland, and we bring it to you as breaking news on the Savage Nation.
A child can see that the intention was to produce the hysteria and now the military action that we are on the point of taking, risking our own safety. What the jihadis have done is jerk our leash. And frankly, for one, I think it's pretty disgusting that we are allowing ourselves to have our own leash jerked. by these Islamist fanatics. This is what's going on. And ask yourself, how has it profited Assad? Please engage your brain. Answer the question. How has Assad benefited from all this mayhem? In fact, it's rebounded against him. Why would he do such a thing when he was already winning? The battle for Eastern Ghouta was virtually over. Why would he choose this moment to do the one thing that was guaranteed to pluck defeat for him from the jaws of victory?
I asked the same question yesterday, and I'm not a former UK ambassador. I just have a logical mind. And logic would dictate, let's see, you've defeated ISIS in 99% of locations in your country after a bloody civil war of 7 years. And now what? You're going to now unleash a chemical weapon attack and turn the whole world against you and Russia. Does that make sense to you? No, but apparently you're not thinking. And that's a U.S. Former UK ambassador, Peter Ford, who agrees with that position. So here we are, how we've gone to a brainwashed generation. From an iron curtain to an iron skirt in one brainwashed generation. That's what we've done. That's what we've done. So which one do you want to talk about? Pius XII, Iraq, Trump? I'm almost dreading to open up the latest news. I want to hope that those shiny new missiles are not flying, because it would upset the entire apple cart here. Let's see what's on the various sites here. Oh, God, I don't even have the... It's like this morning I woke up, the dog woke me 3:30. I don't know what it is, why he's waking me. Showtime, I'm on Drudge Report. Comey, I'm so bored of Comey. They got a show this weekend with him. What is it, on 10 o'clock Sunday night? The Comey show? Why would I want to watch anything like that? Why? Because he's the biggest phony in the history of the FBI, that's why. So they want Ryan to step down and McCarthy maybe speaker. That's interesting. I'll have a lot to say about that when I come back from Washington at the end of the month. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, let's leave it at that. Trump approvals at 50%. No, there's been no shiny missiles flying. No, Jimmy Carter says keep the country at peace. Good for you, Jimmy. And here we are, that's all. What else do I have here? Lindsey Graham wants war. You want war. I don't want war. Online, Dean, line 6. Let's do callers 30 seconds or less. Okay, line 6, you're on the Savage Nation. Fire away.
Michael, I'm thrilled to hear your reaction to the Syria thing. Let me give you 2 good reasons, aside from the fact that Trump opposed this before, why we shouldn't do this. The Russians had a relationship with Syria about the same time Virginia was being settled by the colonists. That's
no, I understand it's in their sphere of influence. It would be like Russia threatening to launch missiles against us for something that we did against Mexico.
You got it. And that's the second point I wanted to make was talk about engaging your brain. Go take a look at a map. Northern Syria is 200 miles from the Russian border. It's exactly what you just said. This could not be more stupid. But nobody is saying that. I'm thrilled to hear that you are. So keep it up. Good work.
Well, it's called logic and scientific method. It works most of the time. And so in order to be able to think at all, you have to have studied the classics. You actually cannot think if you grew up in the TV generation without a classical education. I'm very lucky that I had a classical education. I'm also very lucky that my mind is rooted in the one God theory. I should say the one God knowledge, because at this point I can't say it's a theory. I'd rather say it's a knowledge. And in Greece, they said each person is God. They were idolaters, and they worshiped themselves, as they do in San Francisco and New York's Upper East Side. They said they were God. The Jews came along and said, no, we're not God. There is only one God. Well, that was heresy. You understand that. In many ways, what's going on in America today is the same battle. It's a battle between I am God and there is God. Hollywood says I am God. They worship a golden idol. They're the epitome of the worship of the golden idol. And then there are the sophists in the media who use eloquence and able arguments to spin your mind. And they don't understand that you can't reason without facts. You could be silk-tongued and you could be a great sophist, but there's no knowledge in what you're saying. And the sophism is what passes today for argument today, but it's bad argument. Now, in those days where these ideas were being developed in ancient Greece, a group of brilliant young men gathered about a man named Socrates, a great thinker, a man who tried to explain these things to the people. In his day, he was a talk show host of his time. And then his advertisers were all boycotted. And he lost his radio show, Socrates. And then he was even executed for disturbing people's minds in 399 BC. And he was condemned in the dignified fashion of the Athens of his time to die in his own house and among his own friends, to drink a poisonous draught of something made from the poisonous hemlock plant. But even though they killed him by removing his advertisers and taking away his affiliates, he disturbed people's minds in the years that he was still walking around Athens, teaching them how to think. And in spite of the condemnation and the ignorance of those in the media who try to silence him by not referencing him, even though they stole most things from him, the disturbance that he began in people's minds went on in spite of his condemnation. And the young men who had listened to him in the streets of Athens carried on his teaching. And among those young men who had listened to Socrates was Plato, who began to teach philosophy in the grove of the academy. And it was Plato who was the first man to write about a utopia, the plan of a community different from and better than anything that had yet been on earth. It was called Plato's Republic. That is the book upon which I based this entire show when I began in 1994. That's why I named it. It could have actually called the Savage Republic, but I decided to call it the Savage Nation for a number of reasons. Thank God I did. Plato taught his followers very simply. He said, most of the social and political ills from which you suffer are under your own control, given only the will and courage to change them. You can live in another and a wiser fashion if you choose to think it out and work it out. You are not awake to your own power. That is what Plato taught. Now you know why it's called a savage nation. I was telling you yesterday, if you thought this through and you worked it out and you awakened to your own power and you emailed the White House, you could change the course of human events before it was too late. That was an adventurous thought on this program. Whether it is still soaked into the common intelligence of mankind, I don't know. And The Republic, again, as I say, was a book that I read even in high school at Jamaica High School in Queens, New York. Can you imagine? That we went from Plato's Republic to Kardashians injected behind in just a few generations. Or we've gone from Plato's Republic to Zuckerberg's app in one generation. I love the guy in the committee the other day. That was the funniest thing of the week this week. What a laugh line that was. The old guy, Grassley. Man, when did they retire, these guys? You know, if a surgeon acted the way Grassley did, he'd be but nevertheless, Grassley gets up and says to him, you know, I hear you have an apt, A-P-T, an apt. I almost died. Then later on, Grassley said, well, now we're going to continue with the 5-hour rule. The 5-minute rule. Unbelievable. And there's Zuckerberg laughing all the way to the bank. Just running, smearing them all over the ground. He smeared them off with donations, and then the same people who were grilling him, he had smeared before he even got in there with donations. You hear? That's the country we live in. This is worse than ancient Rome. It's like more like it is a little bit not like ancient Greece here. It's like ancient Rome right now, not ancient Greece. There was more dignity and intelligence in ancient Greece, by my estimation. In ancient Rome, it got so bad that the emperor had one of the senators removed, I think assassinated, and he put a horse in his place in the senator's chair. And they said to him, why'd you put a horse there? He said, because the horse has more sense than most of you horses behinds. Now, I'm not suggesting that we do a thing like that, but don't think that this began here today. People have had other forms of government that have fallen to this level. So, hey, look, I got to take a quick commercial break because that's what makes this wonderful lecture in the Athenaeum of your mind occur. I will be back in a minute on the Savage Nation. Well, we'll go back to the Athenium of your mind on the Savage Nation in a moment, but I want to go to something that's very basic for all of us, which is cars, right? Who doesn't have one? Have you ever taken your car in, though, for an oil change and the mechanic finds something wrong and bingo, you're hit with a repair bill you didn't expect? It's happened to every one of us at some point in our life. But if you have extended vehicle protection from CarShield, you don't have to worry about those unexpected surprises. Look, if your car breaks down after the manufacturer's warranty expires, you could be out of pocket thousands of dollars to get it fixed. Replacing an engine, many thousands. Simple repair to a sensor today, over $1,000. Nothing simple about today's cars. CarShield makes the process of fixing your car for a covered repair very, very easy. You can pick your favorite mechanic or dealership to do the work. It's your choice. They'll pay them directly. And they even give you your 24/7 roadside assistance in a rental car while yours is being fixed for free. It's an amazing deal. So listen carefully. If your car has 5,000 to 150,000 miles, it doesn't mean you have to pay high repair bills. CarShield administrators have paid out close to $2 billion in claims, and they're ready to help you save yourself thousands in future repairs. Get covered by the ultimate and extended vehicle protection. All you got to do is call 800-CAR-6100, 800-CAR-6100, code SAVAGE, or visit carshield.com, code SAVAGE, and you got to say code SAVAGE to keep the show alive. That's 800-CAR-6100, code SAVAGE, and you're going to save 10% on this amazing CarShield deal. That's carshield.com, code SAVAGE, or call 800-CAR-6100, code SAVAGE. A deductible may apply. WABC, Dennis, line 5. Go ahead, please. What's on your mind, Dennis?
Hey, Michael, Dennis from Brooklyn, heading up to the Catskills for the weekend. Listen, I was watching that CNN, all those episodes, and I was able to bear with it for a while. But last night, I jumped out of my chair, too. I couldn't believe what they said.
What do you mean? When you saw Jeff Zucker's CNN smear Pius XII and say imply he was a Nazi collaborator?
I jumped out of my chair. I screamed.
I do not know why the Catholic League under Mr. Donahue does not note their displeasure with what Zucker has done to the memory of this great Pope. And I'm going to tell you something else. Donald Trump himself, who has been smeared by Jeff Zucker and those rats at that network, Donald Trump himself ought to tweet about what they've been doing to the Pope. He ought to go on the attack. Instead of defending himself, he ought to attack them for what they really are. He ought to get the army of Catholics out there on his side, if they aren't already, and show them that they've been lying about Pius XII, as I've showed you, in my opinion, definitively on this program today. Mike on WNTW Radio, line 6. Go ahead, please, 30 seconds or less.
Mike, I read a book several years ago, 101 Reasons to be Proud to be an Italian, and one of the reasons they claimed was during World War II, the Italian nation as a whole, this is besides Pope Pius XII, saved a larger percentage of their Jews from the Nazis than any other country where the Nazis held sway. And I'm proud of that, but they also mentioned Robert De Niro and his accomplishments. I'm not proud of that.
No, De Niro is a black mark on the Italian people as far as I'm concerned. But Pius XII, Cardinal Pacelli, there is a forest of trees named in his memory in Israel that was dedicated after World War II because of what he had done in saving the Jews, number one. And number two, the former head rabbi of Rome, Israel Zoli, converted from Judaism to Catholicism after World War II because of the great number of Jews saved by this Pope. Shame on you, Zucker. And that's all I have to say about it. In a few minutes, I'll return here on the Athenium of your mind, the Savage Nation. Look up Athenium. It's an institution for the promotion of literary or scientific learning. That's us.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
And Pat just emailed me minutes ago, and he said, hope so, Michael. But Trump may be plotting a larger, later hit when Brits, French, etc. are all aboard, and all the forces are in place. Column coming tonight along lines we talked, best Pat Buchanan. So I could wake up tomorrow and see a disaster unlike any I have seen since the invasion of Iraq, which would mean that the Bolton crowd, the neocon crowd, had won, and that they're going to invade Syria, to divide Syria, number one, and we'll see it's a war for oil, number two. Because if that happens, then I'll know that the theories that are currently circulating, and they're far from conspiracy theories. They are theories that have as much validity as any, are showing pipeline maps, one running from Qatar through Syria to Europe, the other one running through Lebanon to Europe, another one running from the Golan Heights to Europe. So there seems to be competing interests for various territories in that region. All the pipelines run through Syria, and it looks like it's fair game now to the international power structure, just as they divided up the world after World War I, and just as they divided the world up after World War II. Really nothing has changed under the sun. They're taking advantage of this very tragic civil war to steal Syrian territory. That could be. That could be the outcome of this. So don't look for fairness or reason here. Just follow the money, and you may find the solution to the whole dilemma. So that's number one, and number two, and number three. Now on a little level, on another level, on a human level, I was reading an article from the Hollywood Reporter. Remember Charlie Rose? It says, Charlie Rose's life now broken, brilliant, and lonely. I couldn't help but reading it, because I realized a guy like this deserves what happened to him. For a number of reasons. Because there's an adage. Well, let me just read it to you. Before the devastating allegations of sexual misconduct hit, Charlie Rose was a legendary man about town. Now the former CBS and PBS star, one of TV's most feted journalists, is hiding out on Long Island with occasional, mostly disastrous forays into Manhattan. He's focusing on trying to understand, wanting to know where his friends are. Remember I joked afterwards, where's Charlie Rose today? That he goes in. Remember the joke I put out? That he'll go into a restaurant and he'll say, in the past he would have said nothing. And then, oh, your table is waiting, mister. And he would say, and he'd stand there, the girl would say to him, yes, can I help you? Well, I'm Charlie Rose. And she would say, yes. Well, is my table ready? And she would say, I'm sorry, sir, I don't know who you are. But we do have something in about 35 to 45 minutes. Would you like a cocktail while you're waiting in the cafeteria in the museum? So they say that the normally dynamic fixture was in full-on head-down mode. Dressed in a dark suit, Rose projected dishevelment, his hair messy, his notebook's pages askew, his gait shuffling. He headed to his table by himself and completed his dinner alone in under an hour. Previously one to take his time and glad-hand everyone, Rose beat a hasty retreat. Perhaps out of a desire to give a struggling man his space, or worse, as a sign of indifference, no one in the restaurant approached Charlie Rose nor seemed to notice him. Hey, Charlie, welcome to the club. And remember the adage, Charlie. Be awfully nice to everyone you meet on the way up, because you're going to meet them all on the way down, Charlie. See, I've gotten used to obscurity and rejection, and it becomes a way of life where you start to actually embrace it. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with actually sitting alone and eating a dinner in less than an hour and then leaving. What's the difference? Now, since November, when 8 women who worked for aspired to work for the Charlie Rose Show accused Rose of sexual harassment, the former PBS and CBS anchor has been at loose ends. I'm reading. Rose decamped recently after the string of appearances in the gossip pages to his 4-bedroom, 5,500 square foot Long Island home in Bellport. 4-bedroom, that's nothing. That's a shack. From January through much of March, what, 5,500 squeeze, all he can afford? That's all he can afford in Bellport, Mr. Big Shot? So anyway, they spoke to a dozen of Rose's friends, neighbors, and former associates, as well as proprietors of his current hangouts, to piece together what life is like for a media star deposed by harassment claims. You know, actually, misery does love company. But I'll tell you this, look, I go to a restaurant here in San Francisco. There are a few people who know me, most don't, and I actually like it that way. Either I go alone, and that's fine, or I take a couple of friends, and that's fine. It's very difficult to go to dinner and have people come up to you, to be honest with you. You're better off staying at home in your underwear and watching PBS, eating a pizza than it is going to a restaurant. Those familiar with Rose's daily schedule believe it now begins as always with a hefty media diet of 10 newspapers. Oh, you're still reading newspapers, you hear? 10 newspapers delivered to his door. Hey, schmuck, why don't you listen to talk radio and find out what's really going on? 10 newspapers, they all have the same stories in them. Charlie plays tennis most mornings, which I think keeps him in shape and together. I got to say something. I don't play tennis. I grew up in the inner city, poor in the Bronx. We didn't play tennis. Now, there are some people from my class who did learn tennis, but I wasn't one of them. I didn't even ski. My kids, though, I mean, I wanted them to be American, so one of the first things I ever did for my kids, as poor as I was as a grad student, was take them for skiing lessons, and they're far more American than I am. But no, I don't ski and I don't play tennis. I'll be honest with you. So Charlie does play tennis to keep in shape. And apparently he lives in Bellport in a teeny little house, 60 miles from the city, and it's a sanctuary. It's known as the Unhamptons. In other words, anyone who can't afford to live in the Hamptons in those days bought something in Bellport. I love how they glorify it, that it's a great place to live. I'm not saying it isn't, but anyone who had money in the time that he bought that house in Bellport would have bought in the Hamptons, but he couldn't. So he bought in Bellport, that's all. Nothing wrong with it. Waterfront on Bellport, goes to the village for probably to get a bottle of vino in the bistro. He looks the same, says the guy who owns the cafe. I think he's more comfortable here than in Manhattan. Yeah, right. Oh, it's a $4 to $6 million property on Great South Bay. I'm sure he enjoys the panoramic views of the water with no one licking his boots. He describes Rose's Grady White fishing boat bobbing in the waves in the foreground. I never liked the Grady White. That's another. You know, these people don't know boats. They buy a Grady White. It's got a name to it. It's not the best boat in the class. I'm a boat expert. Oh, he's got a girlfriend? Who? Rose's on and off girlfriend of more than 25 years is Bloomberg Associates principal of urban planning and stepdaughter to late CBS founder William Paley. She owns a home nearby which she purchased for $6 million in 2012. Not currently a pair. Rosenberg attended Sesame Workshop. Oh, please. Look how pathetic their lives are. Rosenberg attended Sesame Workshop executive Sherry Weston's Chinese New Year's party in Bronxville. How exciting can you get that they went to someone's New Year's party dressed as waiters? I love it. You know, who was it who wrote The Rich Are Different Than You and I to Have More Money? I know who wrote it because I read him in the original English before I translated it into the Savage. It was one of Hemingway's associates. The rich are different than you and I. They have money, but this guy's not even rich. Since November, he doesn't come in as much, she says, at the cafe. He has his housekeeper pick up food now. That's like me. A regular at the Bellport restaurant for the buttermilk fried chicken. Who would eat that garbage? Who would eat buttermilk fried chicken knowing what we know today about diet and nutrition? With a vodka martini to start. That's like the worst combination I can imagine for your body. You start with a vodka and you have buttermilk fried chicken? No wonder whatever, let's leave it at that. Then magazines and newspapers. How smart could the man be if all he reads is magazines and newspapers written by his friends who confirm his worldview? Ask yourself a question. Charlie Rose, Mr. Big Shot, all the years he was on PBS, all the years he interviewed all the Hollywood people, did he ever interview anyone like Michael Savage, who was not only profiled in the New Yorker, but also upset the apple cart of the airwaves for the last 20-some-odd years? But I didn't make it. I didn't make the cut to this Slimebag's PBS hour. Good for you, Charlie. Be awfully nice to all those you meet on the way up because you're going to hear from them on the way down. And I'm going to take a break, Charlie. And let me tell you something else, Charlie. You're welcome on the show anytime you want to meet real people.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. Do you have trouble sleeping like most people do? I'm here to change your sleeping patterns forever. I myself have never slept better since I started using MyPillow. I would toss and turn all night and never feel fully rested, but that's all changed once I discovered MyPillow the way I like it. MyPillow uses a patented technology that morphs perfectly to the type of sleeper you are. You create the pillow that's right for you, right on their own website. It's amazing, and of course it's all manufactured right here in the United States and comes with a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry MyPillow, and the best part is you get a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. I want you to go to MyPillow.com or call 800-768-0898, promo code SAVAGE. Take advantage of my special 4-pack deal. Buy 2 premium MyPillows, and you're going to get 2 Go Anywhere pillows for free. Rush to MyPillow.com or call 800-768-0898, promo code SAVAGE, to take advantage of my special 4-pack deal.
3.
Wouldn't it be great to have all the energy that you want all day long? Unfortunately, fatigue often gets in the way. You know that. It seems to get worse every year, doesn't it? And here's why. When you're 20, your body has a natural ability to maintain healthy circulation. But by the time you're 40, that ability decreases by half. That leaves you feeling tired. So what can you do to increase that youthful, natural circulation and fight fatigue? Drink Super Beets. Super Beets promotes the body's own natural ability to produce healthier circulation for increased energy and stamina all day long. Only Super Beets is made from beets grown to exacting standards, which are then concentrated into superfood crystals. So listen to me. If you want to increase your own natural energy, you go to 1-800-481-0504 or savagelovesbeets.com. With your first order, you're going to get another 30-day supply of Super Beets free, plus indicator strips to see how Super Beets actually works for you. And you get free shipping. Call 800-481-0504, 800-481-0504, or go to savagelovesbeets.com. Watching a neighbor fall off the roof. This guy fell off the roof, in other words. And it's part of human nature to see a guy who lorded it all over everybody to be an ordinary guy and not knowing how to deal with it. You know, but it says in this article, on November 20th, when salacious details of his alleged sexual misconduct surfaced, Charlie Rose issued a Twitter apology that admitted errors in judgment, but stopped short of a full mea culpa. He wrote, "I deeply apologize for my inappropriate behavior," he wrote. He suggested he thought any amorous feelings he acted upon were mutual. And he said, even though I now realize I was mistaken. He said, I do not believe that all of these allegations are accurate. Well, the Hollywood Reporter says the allegations included the following: groping buttocks at a staff party, initiating unwanted sexual advances, walking around naked in front of colleagues who were required to work at one of his New York homes, and in one case forcing a woman to watch a sex scene in the S&M theme movie Secretary. Several other women have come forth with charges since the initial bombshell, bringing the tally to 17 accusers. You know, if any of this is true, it just shows you what's behind the facade. What man in his right mind would walk around naked in front of colleagues who are forced to work in one of his houses? Who would do a thing like that unless they were so drunk on power, right? That's if it's true. Shortly after the story broke, Bloomberg Television, PBS, and CBS News all fired Rose. He had 2 stories in production at 60 Minutes. Believe me, it's no loss to the world of knowledge. Rose launched a public campaign, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, there he is now. Tina Brown, big deal. Is it a party? Another one. What party you're invited to? In 2007, Rose attended Tina Brown's New York City book party. Big, big deal. Tina Brown's book party. My books outsell Tina Brown. I don't need to go to a cocktail party in New York to sell books, Charlie. The people buy them. You know why, Charlie? Because they're good books which have meaning. Tina Brown's cocktail party. That's going to change your life if you get invited to her party. You hear this? Or you get invited to the restaurant. You sit in the restaurant there with Al Pacino just burped up a meal. Anyway, you see where I'm coming from. Vitriolic. I told you the things that keep me alive are the 3 V's, but they're changing in time. At my birthday party, the guys who I invited to dinner, there were 7, 8 guys, they laughed and lifted a glass to me, and one of them said, "To the 3 V's." I said, "What are you talking about?" They said, "You once said on your radio show, the reason for your health and longevity thus far, knock wood, is the 3 V's. I said, "I forgot. What are they?" Let's see. Vodka, vitriol, and vitamins. I said, reverse the order. It's vitamins, vitriol, and not vodka much anymore. I don't even like it. I think but tonight, because I studied about Cardinal Pacelli on the show, I told you what a great pope he was. I'm definitely going to have Italian food. Thank God there was no story today about Korea. I would have Korean. Or what if it was something about China? I would have been influenced on how to go to a Chinese restaurant, which I did the other day. I've had enough of it. I mean, last night I ate Indian food. Thank God. Thank God India's a peaceful nation. We never hear about India, or I'd be eating too much Indian food. One media insider says Charlie Rose is open. He talks to anyone, waiters and people on the street, and he has a lot of charisma. But I suspect that he does not have many friends. I wonder why people would talk to him. You think they'd want to be on his show? It's like an actor. Why do you think anybody wants to know an actor or a director? They're hoping that somehow they'll get put into a movie, right? I mean, be honest. You know, you go up to an actor. What are you hoping? You're discovered, right? Aren't you hoping for a minute that they're going to say, wow, geez, look at that person, man. What an interesting human being. Yeah, right. You're perfect for this new movie I'm doing. Well, here's my personal iPhone number and my address. Come and visit sometime, Mac. I want you in my next movie. like that's ever going to happen. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Either you have to be sexually assaulted to get a part in the movie, or something along those. How do you think you get parts in the movie? The casting couch goes back to biblical times. What do you think? It didn't go on back then? The Lumiere brothers, what do you think they were doing? The guys who invented the projector. So there's nothing new. I mean, the Ziegfeld Follies, what do you think he went into the business for? Is better than the furrier business. I mean, one thing is if you're a furrier, you're making fur coats. But if you then go from fur into the Ziegfeld Follies, you're actually having a showgirls dance. You could do anything in those days. What do you think most people went into the entertainment business to begin with for? Sex. 99% of them went into it for free love. I mean, when you think about it, think about the businesses people pick. Who would go into the entertainment business but, let us say, an exhibitionist? You could say very talented exhibitionist, yes. But what are they in it for? To show off and to meet other show-offs who are generally sexually promiscuous. And they do this for 30 years, and all of a sudden, 30 years later, it's like, oh, my God, he touched me. Oh, my goodness, I didn't want those advances. A few years before, they would have clawed someone's eyes out to have the famous man look at them. At least a lot of women say that to me. Women I trust. They don't go for a lot of this stuff. John Dickerson, anchor of Face the Nation, took over Rose's position. Blah, 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 blah. A son of North Carolina storekeepers. Charlie Rose had been a media force since his eponymous first show in 19... blah, 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 and now facing spotty prospects at best. He, having lost his job, his reputation, even his journalistic honors. Oh, no! 6 colleges, including Rose's alma mater, Duke, have rescinded awards. That's disgusting. Why are they taking an award away that was given to him? What, because he stripped naked in front of an employee? I don't understand. What was the award for? While dining at Italian restaurant Avena with Klein and Seligman. Oh, wow. Oh, he ate in a restaurant in Manhattan with Klein and Seligman. I'll bet the meal tasted better because he was with Klein and Seligman. You know, if you eat with Klein and Seligman in an Italian restaurant in Manhattan, the food is definitely better because you're eating with Klein and Seligman. You know what, Charlie? Come out to San Francisco. I'll show you real Italian food. But there won't be any Klein or any Seligman.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Everywhere you look, experts are predicting a market crash. What would a market crash do to your future? Your IRA? Your 401k? Imagine no more happy returns, dividend checks, or savings cushion. In spite of major warning signs all around, crashes happen suddenly. I've been warning you about the risks to your savings. I've told you there's a secret war raging against you and your money. Will you please listen to me and take action? I'm telling you to take action now. Do it right now. Savage says be wise. Call Swiss America at 800-289-2646. Write it down. 800-289-2646. You're going to get a free secret war report. I want you to protect your hard-earned money before it is too late. Simply call 800-289-2646. You can thank me later, but call 800-289-2646 for the free booklet now. That is trying to bring Donald Trump down by egging him on into a war that is unwinnable. Everybody who's been in war doesn't want war. Only those who've not been to war want war. Only those who sit behind microphones or sit in front of cameras with pancake makeup try to get your son to die in the next war. War should be the last act, not the first act. It's always diplomacy, diplomacy, diplomacy. And for those of you who believe that it requires total allegiance to an emperor, you don't know what country you're living in. You know, I go on Twitter and I see the fools, the idiocy of idiots. People don't even know what country we're living in or the form of government we have. How dare you criticize Trump and second-guess him? Do you know what he knows? The fools on the Hill say. I know enough to know that he's being misadvised about going to war with Syria and possibly Russia. I know enough about that. And I also know we live in a participatory democracy where the people's opinions matter. And he listened to the people's opinions. This is not a religion. We don't live in a dictatorship. We live in a democracy, a republic that is functional in some ways, And Trump showed that it is functional. Obama never listened to the people. So my headline was, Trump shows strength, admits advice to strike Syria premature. That could change as I speak. There could be another tweet as I'm talking. Just launched shiny new missiles. Watch them fly. Could happen. Trump shows strength, admits advice to strike Syria premature. At least that's what I would like to believe is going on. But I myself do not know. I know that I spent 3 hours lobbying on this program for the president to reconsider and back off. I had you bombard the White House with emails. Maybe that's the reason he reconsidered. He is a politician, and so is his party. And they realize if they lose the base, and you are the base, make no mistake about it, if they lose the base by going into another idiotic war in the Middle East, they will lose the House, they will lose the Senate. But I don't know what could happen 10 minutes from now. This is the problem. This is the world we're living in. But look, I hinted at something else, that there may be another reason that is not this one, which would explain why Trump reversed course or reconsidered. And I suggested in a hint when I said to you, Putin is a former KGB agent. What do you think I was hinting at? Well, I may as well lay it on the line since I write novels as well. So this is pure fiction. I wrote Abuse of Power, New York Times bestseller, unknown in America. Never heard of it in San Francisco, not sold in San Francisco. The only novels here are Jenny Has 6 Mommies and 3 Rhinoceroses. Other than that, there's no such thing as fiction in San Francisco. I wrote many other novels that were bestsellers, actually 3 in a row with Jack Hatfield. So make believe this is a novel. I'm going to put it in the third person. There is a president who is on the verge and threatens to launch missiles. His adversary is the head of a very powerful nuclear nation, former KGB agent, who says to him in whatever coded messages that they use, whatever back channel, if you do this, we will release documents that are false which prove that there was Russia collusion. It'll be the end of you. You'll be impeached. You'll be destroyed. Now, what I'm saying to you is something you have to be able to stretch your imagination to understand. You do know that there's a capacity for forging documents, don't you? It's quite easy to do. And there's no reason to believe that the KGB can't forge documents. Is that a possibility or not? Is that too hard for you to think about? Maybe that's too difficult for talk radio. I really don't know how far to go with my fictionalized imagination. So we can stick to narrative 1 rather than narrative 2. Narrative A is the easy one, that Trump shows strength, admits advice to strike Syria premature. Narrative B is beyond the audience. We'll leave that for a fictional novel. But I'll tell you this, though. The Savage Nation showed yesterday that it is still a powerful voice in America. You are. What I say, what you say when you call the show, is still a powerful tool to get those in authority to hear us and make the decisions that are best for the nation and the world. Today we woke up to see that we still live in a participatory democracy. News today was that the president backed down. Well, why did he do that? Could it be because of you and me? Because you called and emailed and told him you didn't want war in Syria, that we didn't have enough information to launch missiles that would kill innocent people and possibly provoke Russia into a war? I had Pat Buchanan on yesterday, a true conservative who served both for Nixon and Reagan, who acknowledged that it was us who were on the right side of history, meaning you and I, the audience, and he, and that those advising the president were wrong to push the administration into another war in the Middle East. I believe the president may have actually listened to us and not to his advisors, especially the new breed of warmongers who just swept into the White House. A week ago, he said, no, we're getting out of Syria. Then we hear Bolton's coming in on Monday, and on Saturday there's a false flag. All of a sudden, a gas attack. We still don't even know who did the gas attack. Remember, he reversed his advisor's advice in either case and actually listened to the people. This may not be so much a reversal of his position as it is an acceptance of the desires of the voters. Most of you want no foreign wars. Most of you want no intervention in the Middle East. Maybe Donald Trump finally realizes that his new advisors are against what you want. I'm going to direct you to a reading assignment as though this is a seminar, a graduate school seminar, in War and Peace. And I'm going to direct you to the most important document on this subject, which is Trump's War. You have the book. Many of you have the book. Page 137, Trump's War Against the War Machine. I called him a man of peace. Page 139, one of the reasons I worked so hard to get Trump elected is I believe he will be a man of peace. Did you hear this? I said put everything else aside. The most important thing in this world is not the economy. It's peace. Domestic peace, international peace, peace between individuals, peace between nations is far more important than gross domestic product or low interest rates. Hundreds of years ago, I wrote, Thomas Hobbes said the very first law of nature is to seek peace. My friends, this is the essence of true conservatism. And I'm not just talking about the absence of military war on the battlefield. I'm talking about peace between individuals and groups within society. It's the opposite of progressivism, which seeks nothing but conflict. Progressives promote conflict between people of different racial groups, different sexual orientations, and different income levels. They even promote conflict between men and women. This is all in the most important document you could ever have in your hand. What are my savage solutions? 1, stand firm on peace with Russia. 2, combat the war propaganda with the bully pulpit. Destroy ISIS and then leave the Middle East. Bring our troops home from unnecessary deployments. I stand by those very words. Russia, 1.7 million. France, 1.3 million. Great Britain and the Empire, 908,000. Italy, 650,000 dead. USA, 126,000 dead. Japan, 300. Romania, 335,000 dead. Serbia, 45,000 dead. Belgium, 13,800. Greece, 5,000. Total allies lost 5 million men in World War I. Germany lost 1.7 million men. Austria, little Austria, lost 1.2 million men in the carnage. Turkey, 325,000. Bulgaria, 87,000. I am talking about human lives. I am talking about men whose legs were blown off. I'm talking about the sloppiest, most disgusting war in human history. Is that what you idiots want? War with Russia? As I say to you, this may not be the biggest show, but it may be the most influential show. People of influence listen to the show. I think today is Holocaust Memorial Day, and it's worth doing something on that, lest we never, ever, ever forget what happened not so long ago in a dictatorship where over 6 million Jews were mercilessly slaughtered and over 9 million non-Jews were mercilessly slaughtered in the concentration camps and in the factories, in the streets, in the torture chambers, all because of a mad dictator who hated a certain race. Never forget that one. Well, anyway, a documentary came out called G.I. Jews, which I thought was very interesting because one of my... can I mention it? I guess I can. Remember 2 days ago I had my attorney on, Dan Horowitz? Great lawyer, friend of mine. Well, it turns out his father actually is in the documentary G.I. Jews. His father landed in Normandy and fought all the way to Berlin. You wouldn't know this. There's some ordinary men around you who are still living who were actually there. And his father's brother was a tank commander who died when a German shell hit the tank and blew him, killed him. Brave man, that was Dan's uncle, comes from a family of warriors, which is why he's such a great lawyer. But the point is that it became very personal for me at that point. And I think we should talk a little bit about the Holocaust Memorial Day in some regard on the program. Maybe we'll play that little tape so you know what I'm talking about. A lot of us want to sweep it under the rug and say, I heard it 100 times. I don't want to hear about the Holocaust. Let's move on. I don't think we can move on so readily. Pope Pius XII, the Pope during Hitler's reign of terror. He was Cardinal Pacelli. Now, he has been smeared by leftist vermin in this country and in Europe since the 1960s. In fact, as recently as last week, the rats at CNN attacked the Pope, saying he was Hitler's Pope all over again. And all I could say is shame on you, Zucker. You're a shame to the Jewish people. Shame on you, Zucker, because you should know better, you mook, you bum, you vermin, you. How dare you attack the Catholics like that, you mook, you bum, you rat. Why do I get so angry over this attack on Pius XII? Why is it that the left wing in this country and Europe keep calling him Hitler's Pope? Let me give you some information about him. Cardinal Pacelli, you never heard of him. That was Pope Pius XII. He saved so many Jews that if you go to Israel today, you will find a forest of trees dedicated in his memory for the Jews he saved in World War II. Zucker, you bum, you mook, you bum, you should know that. You run CNN and you don't know that? You know, CNN should fire Zucker for this kind of thing. The Catholics should let them know they should boycott CNN for smearing Pacelli. And I'll give you another piece of information, all you smart leftist vermin who hate Catholics so much. The former head rabbi of Rome, Israel Zoli, converted to Catholicism after World War II because of the great number of Jews saved by the Pope, who you, Zucker, smear as Hitler's Pope. Did you hear what I just said to you? These are facts, or I wouldn't give them to you, and you can't get them anywhere else but on the Savage Nation.
I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. Ladies and gentlemen, sure, you could have surgery to look younger, but why on earth would you do that? I wouldn't. Listen to Joanne from Connecticut. My husband looks 10 years younger using Genucel. He saw results the first day he used it. I have also had remarkable results. Can't be without it. Imagine the bags and puffiness under your eyes gone, and watch those sagging, droopy eyelids disappear. That's years off your appearance. Genucel by Chamonix is an easy choice. Genucel contains natural ingredients for incredible results safely and quickly. It's as simple as that. In fact, with immediate effects, you'll see results like Joanne's in as little as 12 hours or your money back. Guaranteed that right now is the perfect time to try Chamonix's brand new Genucel Eyelid Lift for droopy, sagging eyelids. Order Genucel today and get the brand new Genucel Eyelid Lift absolutely free. Go to Genucel.com. You heard me. That's Genucel.com for the free Genucel Eyelid Lift, or call 800-SKIN-891. 800-SKIN-891. If you call right now, you're going to get express shipping also free. Hurry, call 800-SKIN-891. 800-SKIN-891 or go to Genucel.com. To the 39 people who are left and still listening to the show, the rest of you probably are busily trying to watch old Charlie Rose interviews somewhere online. I'm sure that you can't get enough of them. I would like to turn to the Savage Nation website, michaelsavage.com, where we have a lot of stuff for you for free. Trump shows strength, admits advice. I've been up 3:30 in the morning. The dog woke me up. Trump shows strength, admits advice to strike Syria premature. Pat Buchanan on Savage agreed Trump made huge error threatening attack on Russia. 4 in 10 millennials don't know 6 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust. Europe's Jews facing resurgent anti-Semitism, highest level since the Second World War. Thank you, Merkel, for bringing in Muslims. As you well know, they are the most intolerant people to have ever hit Europe in modern history. The Kremlin's dupe, Ted Kennedy's Russia romance, that came to me this morning. ACLU celebrates the raid on Trump's lawyer, saying the rule of law is alive. There's nothing lower than the ACLU. They should be investigated under RICO, broken up, and their assets seized. Video, Pelosi suffers face spasms, says wrong words during brief appearance. Sad. I don't like mocking the disabled. I don't. This woman is a mockery of the word Congresswoman. She can't finish a sentence. Her face freezes up. She gets a tumult. But the worst part of Pelosi, one of the richest women in American history, is she always attacks the rich. Now, who would buy this garbage? Are the millennials that stupid that they would buy this crap from her? That the Republicans represent the rich and she represents who? The poor? What, does she live in a cardboard box on Market Street? Then there's this great tape from the Mr. Farage of England, who was loved in the past by Wallbanger, all the other great conservatives. They love Farage. They couldn't stop having him on their show. But yesterday he said bombing Assad will cause chaos and help terrorists. Suddenly he's persona non grata on Fox News. Right? He doesn't fit the narrative of the puppeteer. Then there's a piece called G.I. Jews from NPR, I believe, one of the few things they've done that I approve of. And in this G.I. Joe's tape that you will see on my site, Our Lives Depended on Each Other, you will see a piece in it, I think at 20 seconds, where my attorney, Dan Horowitz's father, appears. Currently still living, the guy's in his 90s, made of iron. And he walked from Normandy to Berlin. I think he doesn't like my show. He thinks I'm too conservative, too right-wing. I'm not too sure, but he's a great man. I respect him tremendously. Dan also lost his uncle in World War II, who was a tank commander killed by the Germans in a duel with a Panzer. Broward County Sheriff's deputy who questioned Parkland shooting's gun control agenda dies unexpectedly. These are stories on michaelsavage.com. War for oil again, I ask, with a picture of the pipelines that, strangely enough, all run through Syria. You've got two competing groups, one coming out of Qatar. I can never say that country's name. Qatar. I don't know how to pronounce it. Qatar. Everyone makes believe they know how to pronounce it. You have to be Arabic. What country do you live in? That's how you say it. I live in. But in English, it's impossible. Qatar. So the pipeline runs from Qatar or Qatar or Qatar through Syria to Europe. The other pipeline runs from Iran through Iraq and Syria to Europe. So you got Sunnis and Shiites wanting their pipeline to go through Syria. It's war for oil again. Have a nice night.